this is Jedka for a battle report, a delayed one. This is battle report number 69, and I publish it only now because I lost the audio file, so I just have to redo it. This is a 2,500 point battle. We roll for meeting engagement. That's a scenario where you roll for each of the units, and on the roll of the 1, the unit is not deploying on first turn. So quite interesting. This is Civil War against Gary M from the club, and this is going to be a good one. Hope you enjoy. It's a bit of unluck for Gary. He rolls a 1 on his big block of saurus, and he rolls a 1 on a skirmisher block as well. He ends up deploying like so: skirmisher on the left, bastiladon, skirmisher in between that and the engine of the god, ancient stag. These are my models, which I lent Gary. He's got column riders there with his character, and then he's got some I forgot what they called, the flyer dinosaur thingy. And for my deployment, I rolled a 1 on the Kelmian Kings, which is a shame because that's the one unit that can be very useful at the deployment stage, but now they will have to come on my table's edge, so pretty much making not useless, but takes away a lot of their efficiency. And as my deployment, on the left corner I've got 1 salamander and a big block of saurus cav with my BSB, my old bloods and scarlet in there. Second supporting cold 1 cav standing there on the hill, unit of skirmisher skinks, block of skink cohort 24 in there. I've got some more skirmisher skinks in the forest, and my second block of skink cohort in there with poison attacks, javelin and spears. I then have the second salamander on the hill there at the top of the screen. So yet to confirm, my chameleons are out of the game or out of deployment, and his block of saurus and one of his skirmisher skink block is out of the game as well at the start. I have Teto Echo with Lore Master of Heaven and low level 2 of Beast, and I get for spells Savage Beast of Horus and Wooden Wildform. Gary has 2 level 2 of Beast and 1 level 1 of Beast. Level 1 of Beast has the Pan Impenetrable Pelt, the 1 level 2 has Wooden Wildform, the Ember Spear, and the second level 2 has Curse of Anra here and the Savage Beast of Horus. So pretty much all the spells you want from the Lore Beast. So the Pterodon Riders, which stand for Ripodactyls, just try that unit. I have Vanguard move, but I put my Salamander in there, so it cannot blocks him to move forward. So no Vanguard move for Gary. And here's a better look at my line, looking at his line. Civil War, so Teto Echo just behind the left block of Cold 1 Riders, and my level 2 of Beast is just behind Teto Echo there, bottom of the screen. My opponent gets to go first and declare charge. He declares a charge of the Ripodactyl onto the Salamander. I choose to flee and get away, which is very lucky. Unfortunately, my BSB is quite fast, so I need a bit of luck to get that Salamander back. On the other side of the table, the skirmishers shuffle to be on my flank, and good line of sight of the Salamander. His block of Column Riders go over the river, but I'm still stuck in there, so that's not a very good spot for him. The Bastiladon and the Ancient Stag stay back in support, ready for charge on turn 2, I believe. Magic Phase, turn 1, he gets Boxcar 12 dice, I get 6, but I do get a channel, so 12 to 7. He casts Wooden Wildform on his Bastiladon, successfully casts Curse of Anra on my Cold 1 Riders block with my old ones, and then tries to use the Engine of the God bubble spell, but it doesn't reach any of my units. In the shooting phase, his skirmishers are very efficient and get rid of 3 of the Salamander's handlers on the left hand side, which is not a good news. And on to my turn 1, so unfortunately the big block has Curse of Anra, and I don't want to lose a lot of very expensive models, so The guy stays put, ready for counter charge. Maybe that's not the best plan, but that's the way it is. I move the King Skirmisher forward. Being aquatic, they get advantages of being in the river. So I try to block the bastiladon, the ancient stag, and offer a charge to the Cold One Riders with support from the 2 cohort blocks of skinks on the top there. My second block of Cold One Riders goes down the hill, tries to get ready for flank maneuvers against the Cold One Riders or the Stegadon, whatever comes along. And the next turn, I get lucky, the Salamander on the right hand side rallies and turns to face the battle. It's going to take a while to get back in there. Magic, I roll 2 double 3s and I get a channel, so that's 7 dice for me, 2, 3. So planning to do a lot of shooting and a lot of combat next turn with this block of Skin cohort. I tried Wizard Wild Form, but it's being dispelled. I cast successfully Chain Lightning with Teto Echo, and unfortunately he gets scrolled. The left hand side Salamander moved nicely on the flank to try to get this block of Skin Skirmisher and potentially the Bastiladon, but misfire and choose on his remaining handler, unfortunately. Here's a better picture of the very tasty handler that the Salamander just chewed, and on the monster action table he rolls a 5, the Salamander is frenzied now and needs to charge the closest unit. And shooting, I tried to snipe some of his Skin Priests, that's very unsuccessful. I tried to kill a few of his Cold One Riders, that's very unsuccessful as well. After much debate, Gary decides to avoid losing a lot of models to a charged difficult terrain and charges 2 of his characters out of his block into the Skin cohort and the Skin Skirmisher. His block then shuffles towards my line to avoid being charged in the flank next turn. I believe this is a picture of his Ripodactyls trying to charge the Salamander, but fail again, unfortunately. And here's a picture of, I forgot to mention, his Saurus block and his unit of Skin Skirmisher that were left out of the deployment are entering the battle. So one is going to flank Salamander unit, which is good, and the block of Saurus is pretty much out of action for at least a turn at the top there. In his remaining movement phase, he shuffles around the Skin Skirmisher on the left hand side to get out of the arc of charge of the Salamander, who is frenzied. The Salamander will have a long charge against the Bastiladon, but he can make it, it happens. The Bastiladon shuffles backward and the Ancient sticks around. In Magic phase he rolls double 5 and channels twice, so he's got 12 to 5, that's going to be painful. The Engine of the Gods is activated, and my closest units of Skin Skirmishers suffer from 3 and 4 casualties respectively. So he's got 10 dice left. I believe casts Ember Spear onto my big block of Cold One Riders, kills 2, and with 8 dice left tries to cast Curse of Anraia on that block again, but I dispel it with all my dice. In the shooting phase, the newly arrived Skin Skirmishers take off 2 of the handlers from the rightmost Salamander. The Skitter's Kings on the left hand side get 1 wound through onto the Salamander. In the combat phase, the character against, I believe it's in All Blood, against the Skin cohort, he kills 9 of my skinks, and I don't believe I do anything, but I'm stubborn and stick around. The Skin Skirmisher aren't that lucky and get routed by the Scarlet, but it does not run them down. My turn 2, I tried to charge the Salamander into a Ripodactyl and fail, but it gets closer. My non-character block of Cold One Riders charging the flank of his Scarlet. I tried to charge my big block of Cold One Riders with the characters as well, but failed. Didn't get down the hill that much. The Salamander on the left hand side, the frenzied one, successfully charges the Bastiladon in the flank, which is lucky. Well, not lucky, he's fighting Bastiladon again. and I charge the Skin Skirmishers into the Ancient Stegadon. With a bit of luck, I mean, they are stubborn in the water, being aquatic, all of the skirmishers, so we'll see how it goes. But at least it blocks the Ancient Steg for counter charge next turn. I move my Skin Skirmishers towards the Hisker Skirmishers on the left hand side of the table to support the chameleons that just came onto the table on my Deus Ex Magic phase. We got 8 to 5, and I rolled 2 channels, so 10 to 5, which is pretty cool. I successfully cast Recent Wild Form on the block which is not engaged there. And why did I do that? Oh, I did that on the Cold One Riders. With my remaining dice, I cast Ice Shard Blizzard on his Scarlet, making him harder to hit me. And then I get Harmonic Convergence on the Cold One Riders block. In shooting, I do very poorly with my 2 units and only get rid of 2 of his Skin Skirmishers. Oh, I forgot to mention, that's why that was a picture. I charge one of my Old Blood into the second squad of Skin Skirmishers there at the top. And that was from my character block of Cold Riders, the one I get down the hill. Then straight into combat. That character, that Old Blood, just pulverizes the skirmishers and then runs them down. Has to, because there's no skink characters next. Ends up there. And so yes, no, I did cast Recent Wild Form on that block of Skin Cohort because I had to charge him to make way for my Cold One Riders to charge in the flank of his characters. So they charge the block of Cold One Riders. With the knowledge that they have a foot in the river, which makes them not steadfast, and I have steadfast, so hopefully with combat res I get through. However, in combat I get 6 casualties and I don't believe I do any to him, which was a stupid thing of my part because of course, having done that combat first, and I thought I would have had this one, but no. He breaks the skinks, does not run them down. Skink go through my unit, so he bumps into my flank of the Cold One Riders there, and I felt so dumb. I should have done that combat first. Never mind. And then at the top there is Old Blood versus my other block of Skin Cohort. I feed him the champion. And he dies for the better good, or the greater good. The steadfast Skin Skirmishers against the awesome Ancient Stegadon. I think the guy on top just gets rid of 3 skins. He finishes 1, so 1 skink left. He runs away and gets away. The Ancient Steg is stuck. I think he did get a wound through, which is awesome. Or was it a maybe he was dangerous terrain, but there you go. He's not in my flank, which is good. And yeah, the speed bump I believe was useful. And so the combat there, I beat myself so much for having done that. So guy on the left, the unit has to fight his Cold One Riders, and I put everything else onto his character. A fight versus the Cold One Riders unit, he kills 2, I kill 2, it's even. It's not gonna work because he got my flank. And then I do absolutely nothing to his characters and he kills 2 of mine. Fortunately, my unit sticks around for another turn. Such bad. Yeah, guys, make sure you prioritize the order of your combat very well. Make sure you understand what's gonna happen if everything goes to shit, which it did. In his turn 3, he charges his Ancient Steg into my B block of Cold One Riders. That could be a problem, but I have characters there, so I'm hopeful. At last, the Reproductiles successfully charge into the Salamander. His Saurus block, his Bastiladon and his characters shuffle a bit to support the rest of his army. Not much more movement on his part. We get to the magic phase. He gets 6, I get 5 dice. He successfully gets the Curse of Honorary on my Corone Riders, making them -1 to hit. In the combat with the Ripodactyls, he gets a woundful on a Salamander and kills one of its handler, whilst I kill one of his Ripodactyls. In the end, we stick around for another turn of combat. On the top there, I lose 7 guys in combat, but because I'm still steadfast, I stick around. The combat of the Corone Riders goes to the worst for me. I lose my unit. I deplete his unit to 1 model, which is good, but unfortunately his character just does everything else and just kills all of my remaining models in that unit, and we end up in a position like so. In combat with the Ancient Stag, with my big block of Corone Riders, he causes 2 wounds to me, I causes 2 wounds to him. I have a banner, but he has a charge, and it's a draw, so stick around for another turn. Oh, that's why there was not shooting. I believe my unit of Chameleon Riders decided to charge his kings, and it's not very good. I think he killed 2 of my models, I killed maybe 1. In the end, it's a draw, and we stick around for another turn. It's a turn of draw, apparently. In my turn 3, I move the King's Commissioners to try to snipe the last wound of one of his King's Priests next to the bastiladon over there, and I move my old one rider in such a way that I will support them and try to get away from the bastiladon. The skin core that was fleeing in the previous turn rallies and turns around. The level 2 King Priest stand on the side, protected hopefully by the Skink cohort to provide support to the Core 1 Riders, and the King's Commissioner that fled in the previous turn are stuck in the forest now. Magic and shooting were uneventful on my part, and we're going to combat, and in combat my characters who fluffed in the previous turn finally get rid of the Ancient Stag. They overrun, but not enough to get into his characters anyway. We didn't have enough time, so we end up turn 3, and yeah, it was a good game. It was very tough. Big mistake on my part, doing the skin core combat first. I'm not sure I would have been able to get through his character's armor, and but at least I would have not get combat rest from the charge and the flank from his guys, and the extra 2 casualties that they caused to my unit. So yeah, in hindsight, you learn every day. You make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. I hope you don't, and I hope you can use my mistake not to make yours. So there you go. For the little story, I have sold these Lizardmen. I enjoy playing them, but in terms of playing fantasy, I sold my Bretonians before. I have made a project to do Fallen Brets using Chaos Warriors Knight model, which are very cool, and it's getting along. I have the army. I'll get all the models with some cool proxy model, I guess you could say, but themed proxies, so they work very well for my trebuchet and my archers. It's getting ready. I don't know if it will have a place in the next iteration of the game. I hope they will. Worst case, I still have my dragon hosts with a lot of monsters from the Warriors of Chaos book. That could be fun. But yeah, so the Lizardmen are gone. They were a labor of love. They were my first fantasy army, following my love of the Blood Bowl Lizardmen team, the computer game. And yeah, Corone Riders, really like them, really like the Old Blood, really like the Scarvets. Tetoriko's Beast is awesome. I really hate playing this King's Cloud type of list, but I did really start to enjoy playing the Skin Cohorts block. I think they're very powerful. With poison attack especially, they can do a lot of good stuff, and they're very good targets, as you can see, targeting the Old Blood at the top there for 3 turns. It's pretty cool. There you go, hope you enjoyed. Gary and I had a great game. I believe in the end, because I did not destroy... What did I destroy? I destroyed Stegadon, I destroyed one of his King Skirmisher unit. I believe Gary won by points on this one, fairly easily, killing the big block of Saurus Riders, and I guess he destroyed the block of Skink Court at the top. So yeah, it was a good game. It was a really good game. We do enjoy playing with Gary. It's a shame he's not going to be able to play Civil War again, because that's a good matchup for us. And we're learning from one another. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this battle report. Sorry for the delay and the fact that it's not in sequence, but there you go. See you next time. Bye bye.